This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. This is Python's Paradise, your film and music show, and this is your host, Gregg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, I love different avenues of the entertainment industry, and I have somebody on the phone that is into something very similar to myself. He's into radio, he's into entertainment. I'm talking about Hanley Entertainment, and we're talking about the headliner to that, the organizer of that, the mastermind behind that, Gregg Hanley. How do you do, Gregg? We both got matching names, except you got an extra G.
I know. I had to put the extra G in there, Gregg, because I just wanted to be different all my life. So I thought the extra G would make me stand out just a little bit.
Well, you know what? I got relatives that put an extra G on mine at Christmas time, and I'm like, you know what? If they don't know, if my own relatives don't know how to spell my name, screw it. They're sending me a gift, so I won't argue.
Right, that puts me in a class by myself. I'll take it. I'll be the extra G in this one, okay, Gregg?
Sure, why not? So how is it there in Los Angeles right now? Nice and sunny, good weather?
It's beautiful out here. Like around 73, 74 degrees. The sun is shining. Just beautiful weather. Just a beautiful day. And for the November, the middle of November, we don't really out here get weather change. You know, it doesn't rain that much out here. I live in Los Angeles, so I'm near the beach, and all the little local places, Hollywood, Beverly Hills, all the beautiful places that you can go and just really have a nice time and dine out and everything. Don't wear a coat either. So it's a nice thing out here. It's beautiful.
Gee, I'm jealous. We got snow on the ground and it's freezing right now. We just got hit with our first snowstorm.
That was good.
Oh, yeah, until you drive on it.
Okay. Now I believe that.
Yeah, not the most fun stuff to drive in, I'll tell you that. But
I can only imagine. Look, I can only imagine, Gregg. It would be a challenge because we get about 2 days of rain out here, bro, and nobody knows how to act. We start crying, so we're real wimps when it comes to weather. Just to let you know, we're not half the men and women that you guys are out there. Dealing with the elements.
Have you ever been out this way here to New Brunswick, Canada?
No, I haven't been to New Brunswick, but I've been to Saskatchewan, Montreal. I've been to Toronto, and a couple other places in between. When I in my professional career, I toured for about 20 years of my life with a band that you know called Otis Day and the Night.
Oh, yeah.
And so I toured with Otis, and we did a lot of dates out in Canada. And those are the ones that I remember distinctively because I had been to them more than once. So it really kind of set in my mind what those places are like. You have a beautiful country. I love that. Very clean. Just beautiful people. Everybody's kind of laid back. I enjoyed myself at each one of those locations, Gregg. Every last one.
Well, I am 46 years old, and it wasn't until last year I had left the province for my first time. I'd never traveled outside New Brunswick, and I had an actress I interviewed from Canada here twice on my show, and she asked me what was stopping me, and I said, well, I get homesick. Well, it turns out that she invited me to be her assistant at a horror film convention in Toronto, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to come home.
It's a beautiful thing to travel.
Yeah, well, I'm discovering that.
Yeah. That's the only, Greg. That's the only thing that I really miss. I retired after 20 years, and because I was getting homesick too. I have children and stuff I have to raise, and get through schooling and make sure that they grow up to be citizens of this world. And so I chose to after 20 years of doing me. Is to retire from the road part of the industry, and come home and just kind of soak it all in and look at what I have been blessed to do. My life, it was something I've been raised into since I was I would say 8 years old.
Oh, wow.
I was like groomed into this business. Otis Day's brother is my father.
Okay.
And he which makes Otis my uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very blessed to be groomed in this business by my father, who's a jazz musician himself.
Okay.
And he taught me the business of music. And it's something that I would never forget. And when I see him, he's 80 years old now. He stays out here in Los Angeles also.
Okay.
And he basically taught me everything that I know today, that I apply today. And it's a beautiful thing. But the traveling thing, it has its peak. And when it's time to come home, it's time to come home. And I did that and started my own business, which is Hanley Entertainment now.
Okay. Well, for me, if I had a chance, I'd live in Toronto. Everything's right there, but the problem is the cost of living is quite higher there compared to here.
In Toronto?
Oh, yeah.
The cost of living is higher?
Oh, yeah, compared to here, definitely.
Oh.
Mm.
I thought I was living in Los Angeles, and places like New York and Los Angeles are really off the chain. I mean, our gas prices have gone up. Like you said, the cost of living,
Mm-hmm.
has gone up. You really have to be plan way ahead nowadays.
Yeah.
To make sure that everything is covered and that you're settled. So there won't be any crisis. But like I said, I missed the traveling out of everything that I did. I did miss the traveling. You meet a lot of great people. I was fortunate, like I said, to go to Canada several times. You just meet the different cultures, food,
Mm-hmm.
the weather. Look, the weather.
Yeah.
And, it's all an experience for me, like snow and stuff like that. That was an experience for me.
Well, you could have all the snow you want. We'll give it to you.
Send me some via FedEx or something. Just a block of snow. I can sit it up there. And when I want to go to the snow, I'll have my own personal snow. That'll work.
Oh boy, yeah. I'm just counting the days for spring here in April. Oh man,
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. We'll get, like I said, we get 2 days of rain, and we kind of we're wimps out here in Los Angeles. We start crying. So, very few weather changes, and I get used to it. But it's always good to go to some snow, man. Go out there and get into the elements, and that's amazing to us in Los Angeles. Snow.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, yeah, that's a big phenomenon out here. So, snow. Everybody gets excited.
Well, I understand you guys have got some fires out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the only thing. By having all this year-round good weather and heat, we also are vulnerable to and susceptible to fires because it dries out. We've had several droughts and stuff like that. And 2 days of rain out here clears our drought, just to let you know.
Mm-hmm.
So we like a little rain every now and then. It clears our air. We have a lot of cars out here. the smog and stuff for people that have respiratory problems and stuff like that. It's not really good. It's not healthy breathing that nasty air from car pollution. And the fires don't help.
No. I hope you're out of harm's way.
But, I'm actually kind of good. But amazingly, Greg, I can actually, from where I live, I can actually see the fires in the hills. When they were at full in full force, and it happens every year.
Yeah.
You can see that. It's like a glow on the edge of the earth or something. It's just really, you can see it, physically see this. And, people lose their homes and get uprooted, and it's not a fun time, but it happens every year. Every year. It's almost like we're used to it, but when it happens, we're never prepared for it.
Well, I need to get some of your background. You started in the business here at a really young age. Give us your background and what was the key thing that got you interested in where you arrived to where you are now?
Ooh, this is going to be good.
Yep.
Well, my father. I owe everything to my father.
Okay.
Jazz musician, like I said, vocalist. I used to see him practice in the house with his band. And I used to get pots and pans out, Greg, and start playing the drums on the pots and pans and everything. I got smitten and bitten by the music bug at a very, very, very young age. My father, I was like his protege, and he took me everywhere. I've met great people in this business through him all my life. People like Little Richard.
Okay.
Yes, when I was a child, I was with Little Richard and his crew daily almost.
Was he little?
No, I was little. He looked big to me, But but one thing I didn't do, I didn't get caught up into who it was. I knew the name and everything, and I hear the names around my household with my mom and my dad talking and everything. So I kind of knew who they were talking about. People like Sam Cooke.
Oh, yes.
Lou Rawls. Yes, Lou Rawls. Bobby Day, which is I was at Bobby Day's house. He lived around the corner from us at that time, and that's the gentleman that wrote Rockin' Robin,
okay,
Little Bitty Pretty One, and all these other great hits that we hear in commercials and be reproduced all through these years. And I actually got to work with him later on in my life, which was an honor. He's Uncle Bobby to me. So my dad is the one that inspired me to do music. I could always sing, but he taught me the business of music before I sung a note.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Publishing, agency, management, the legal parts of it, the gears, what makes it work, and stuff like that, why it worked, what the numbers were. And I remembered that all my life, but I didn't realize until later on in my career, in my life, when I got into my teens, that a lot of the stuff that he was preparing me for prepared me for other things that were coming in my life, and it was like the back of my hand. I knew it already, and I was around great people in my teens. Once I went through school and everything, did my first talent show, and all this other stuff that goes along with prepping yourself up to be a musician or an artist. I was privy again to meet and took me up under his wing, basically, Reverend James Cleveland. And Reverend James Cleveland is the gospel king. He was the king of all gospel music during his generation, and probably still today. And through him, I met another set of people,
Okay.
a whole nother set of people. Aretha Franklin.
We just lost her too.
And that hurt me so bad. That hurt me so
We
bad. 'Cause
lost
it was
her
personal
and
to me.
we lost her and Matt Guitar Murphy, both the same year, and they were both famous, of course, for the Blues Brothers, both in the same
Yes.
scene. Yep. I've had three of the
Steve
blues.
Cropper, all those guys. Yes, yeah. But Gregg, it's amazing. With my life journey, and somebody told me destiny after I looked at it through the rearview mirror. But I met people like that, and I was with them every day, playing at our house. I always looked at Aretha Franklin like as a mother. I never looked at her as Aretha Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
She was a mother. Me and her son are like brothers. I was
Okay.
at his wedding and stuff like that. So I never looked at her like, oh, Aretha Franklin. I never did that. And I think that's what she liked. When you're at that level, you have a lot of fans, and fans act fandish.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't act like that. She was a mother.
I had three of the Blues Brothers on here, and all three of them said very, very positive things about Aretha Franklin.
Sweetheart.
Yeah.
Sweetheart.
Yep.
Sweetheart. She used to cook for us and everything. She was a mother.
Mm-hmm.
So when we lost her, to make a long story short, it hit me personally because it's part of my grooming in life, and I can't today. It's really hard for me to listen to her music. I turn it off when it's on the radio. I might sing a song around the house and I say, "Oh, that's Aretha," and I catch myself. But I can't listen to her music on the radio quite yet.
I bet she would like that if you listened to her music and got joy out of it.
I try
Mm-hmm.
many a time, and I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
I'm quite sure in time I'll be able to, but it's really hard right now to do that because it's a personal relationship.
Yes.
And it was just a beautiful thing, a beautiful part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
During that same time, I got to work with Billy Preston,
Okay.
who was the fifth Beatle. And I learned a lot from him. How to act, I was groomed by these people: Reverend James Cleveland, Billy Preston, Aretha Franklin. I got to meet Stevie Wonder and stuff like that. And at 16 and 17 years old, I was at the Grammys, and here I am, guiding Stevie Wonder around.
Wow.
Yeah, amazing. All these people coming left and right, want to give him cards, want to autograph, want to talk to him. And here I am, this little 16-year-old kid, 17, guiding him around. I was his escort. Yeah.
Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder. And so I'm taking this all in too. Don't get me wrong, Greg. I'm taking this all in. I got this uncanny knack of capturing the moment, and I kind of knew things were happening for me. I was in the right people, the right place at the right time. They seemed to like me. I never understood that till later on in my life a little bit, but they like being around me. Barry White, people like that. They hired me for jobs and stuff when I was young, and I never really could figure that out. And then I used to ask the question, why me type thing. I don't know. Like I said, I seen things happening around me. I knew it was a good thing, but I couldn't understand why or what it was prepping me up to be in my life until way later on in my life.
You say you grew
And
up
go ahead.
instrumental and playing instruments. Do you have a favorite instrument that you like to play?
Drums.
Drums. Okay.
Yeah. Natural
Yeah.
drummer. Never took a lesson in my life. Never took a lesson in my life. I learned on pots and pans watching my dad play in the front room doing rehearsals and stuff, And he that's what I learned from it. That's what I learned. I learned the sound. I loved that. It was a natural thing for me to do. And I learned from watching people, do it. You know what I mean? And get the pots and pans out, and that was my drum set.
Drummers are rarely, unless you're Phil Collins or the guy from Def Leppard who amazingly does it with one arm, but drummers are rarely highlighted. But I say drums, I mean, you take drums out of a song and that you feel like there's something hugely lacking. I think drums are very, very important. Do you have any drummers that inspired you, like later on in life?
Oh yes. Oh yes. I'm a big Alex Van Halen fan.
Okay.
Oh my God. What's the gentleman? Led Zeppelin's drummer. Bonham, is his last name Bonham?
I would know.
Okay.
I have.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say I have Willie Hall from the Blues Brothers, and I know him as a drummer. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, I'm a rock and roll person. Okay, I was like I said, I was raised with Little Richard and all this stuff, which is considered at that time was, I guess, R&B, but it was considered rock and roll. And so I have a natural knack to gravitate toward rock and roll drummers. That's my thing. I like drummers that play a lot of off time beats and stuff like that. That's why Alex Van Halen is one of my favorite drummers of all time. He can't go wrong with me. That amazed me. But Buddy Miles, he amazed me because he was a drummer and he sang. So that was a complete package to me, And so the drummers that inspired me are those. And I've been like and still haven't gotten a drum set. Maybe one day I'll buy me a drum set. And,
no, you still don't have one?
And I still don't have one. I still don't have one. And my grandfather said he was going to get me one when I was real young. And on his dying bed, God bless his heart, which is Otis Day's father, my father's father. And he said he regretted. That's the only thing he ever regretted in life, is not getting me a set of drums. And I felt so bad.
Well, you have pots and pans.
I had my pots and pans, and I beat them. I pulled those pots and pans in my grandparents' house out too. So they got enough of that,
You mentioned,
but he was a humble gentleman and worked a humble job and everything. And I always thanked him, if nothing else. And I'm gonna tell you this: it wasn't about him whether he got me the drums or not. It was that it gave me hope.
yes.
It wasn't a year.
Yeah.
Wasn't a. Go ahead.
He gave you something extremely important that allowed you to persist forward, and that kind of encouragement is priceless.
Yes. You realize those things when you get older and a little bit more mature. And like I said, I never really missed it, that he didn't. I just said, Papa didn't give me. No, it was never like that. It was like until the day that he left this earth, I still thought I was going to get those drums. And as he said that on his dying bed, that was the only thing that he ever regretted. that him not getting me those drums. But in the meantime, with all that, my father, his son, taught me everything I need to know to go forward as far as the business, so I had different things to fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that I wasn't. I've never been, Greg. I've never been one-dimensional. I understand the business, how it runs, and I've never been one-dimensional. I never. When I went out and did the tours with Otis Day and the Knights, I was a singer.
Okay.
And a business manager.
Okay.
You know, he let my uncle Otis Day let me run his entire business.
Okay.
Did not question me one time about any decision that I ever made.
Oh,
Not
that's
one.
awesome. That's that kind of confidence right there. Really helps you, you know. And I gotta say, Otis Day, I am most familiar with him from National Lampoon's Animal House, which is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. I've had Mark Metcalf on here from that movie, who played Niedermeyer, and I've had Martha Smith, who plays Babs. I've had her on here. I love Animal House, and of course, Otis singing. I got a story to tell you, and you'll love this. You'll love this. I don't do this as much as I used to, but I used to go to the nightclubs around here all the time with my friends. I don't drink, but we'd go there. We knew the DJs, and we'd socialize. And one night, like they play a lot of recent stuff, but one night they played Shout by Otis Day from Animal House. And I just sat back and marveled. People went right to the middle of that dance floor, and they did Shout. The only time I seen anything similar to that, they played "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" by Cyndi Lauper. It's like, who says these old songs don't resonate with people? You know. And it was, I just sat back and marveled, these people getting right involved in Shout, and I was like, man, you know, this song still catches people.
It's personal.
Yeah. Yeah.
We figured that out. It's personal. People, you know what, Greg? What we found out was almost a fluke, because what happened after, you know, Dwayne. His name is Dwayne Jesse. Just to let you know and your listeners know, his name is Dwayne Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
The part that he played in the movie was Otis Day. Since then, he's changed his name legally to Otis Day.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, what happened with that was in Eugene, Oregon, where they still do an annual every year, the Dexter Lake Club.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they do a concert every year at the Dexter Lake Club in Oregon, and they made the name up. National Lampoon made the name up on the set.
Okay.
They didn't have a name. All it was supposed to be in the script was, you know, go to local bar, you know, see a rock and roll band, but it never had a name. John Landis and a couple of his, you know, guys that he hung around with. Okay, well, let's just call it Otis Day and the Knights.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's roll with that. It rolls with that. It stuck.
Mm-hmm.
It stuck. And when Dwayne is also an actor from many of movies, Car Wash.
Oh, yes.
Bingo Long, Traveling All-Stars with Billy D. Williams and James Earl Jones, which he won he played the part of a mute baseball player named Rainbow, which he won an Image Award for here in the States. He's also did Fun with Dick and Jane. He did his resume in that is endless as an actor. So that was really amazing that one part that he played is the one that sustained him for the rest of his career.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. And he's a good uncle. on top of that. Later on during the year in 2019, I'm going to give you that interview with my uncle Otis and the Knight, and because he is the person that another one that took me up underneath this wing. I was at all of those movie sets as a kid.
Oh yeah,
He took me everywhere. Took me everywhere. He's my uncle, but he treated me like his brother because he was the baby in the family.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't have a younger brother. So I was his younger brother. I was his nephew, but he treated me like his younger brother. Took me everywhere. Everywhere I went, everybody was older than me.
Okay.
You know, so it was a more life experience, more grooming, movie sets, all that. I knew it all. He took me everywhere with him.
What was the set like on Animal House? That must have been crazy.
It was actually a lot of fun. It comes off just the way the movie comes off on tape, and that's what's magical about it, because there was no difference. What you saw was what you got. You know, you had John Belushi.
Yes.
You had all these Neil Meyer. You had Matthews. You had Stephen Furst.
Yep.
All these characters on here, and they were exactly who they were in that movie.
Yep. Yeah, we lost John Belushi way too young. And you want to talk about somebody
Yes.
who was a decent actor, but he had a thing for music as well. He and Dan Aykroyd with the Blues Brothers. I love that movie. A lot of respect for John, but he had his demons.
And well, yes, and we all have them, and we have to fight them, and we go through it, and thank God. And hopefully we'll learn from other people's mistakes and not go that way and get that warning sign. Still, people haven't gotten it all, of course, but you have to look and pay attention to what, not just because these people are great or anything, but what they didn't do too. It's a lesson in life, you know, not good or bad, but it's a learning lesson, you know, and you have to know how far to take things and everything. And like you said, he was the ultimate party animal, and he partied too much. And he's not the only one, because I'm not going to put John Belushi down. A great spirit, but you know, sometimes you got to know when to quit.
Yes.
You know, step back.
Well, Chris Farley fell into that same thing, and he was inspired by Belushi. Yep.
Another one of my great heroes. I love Chris Farley, but you got to step back in this business. You have to smell the roses, as that old saying goes. You have to step on the outside of it, and look at it again. And when it's time, or you're ready to go back in, you go back in, and then you come back stronger, because it's a lesson learned. You know. Sometimes, and I'm quite sure this in life, not just in music, but sometimes you're too close to things. You can't see it. And you have to have that spirit of discernment when you wise enough to talk and the wisdom to listen, you know. And as long as you do that, my experience is that you sustain. You have to be a good listener. Great observer.
Yep.
You know, and know when that line is crossed. Right? Listen, okay, enough is enough. 20 years on the road with Otis, I backed out of it. I did one last tour in the 1998.
Okay.
With a whole lot of great peoples from Three Dog Night.
Oh yes.
To Herman's Hermit.
Oh, there you go.
Pat Upton, Spiral Staircase, Mick Padera on from Iron Butterfly, Buffalo Springfield.
Oh, gee.
Yeah. So after that, it was time to retire.
Well, you
from the
technically
road. From the road.
you retired from the road. I don't think you retired.
No.
When you got passion, you find other ways to utilize it, and you certainly did. But before we get to Hanley Entertainment, I wanted to mention, Otis and Animal House. He had a couple of really fantastic scenes in that movie. Of course, you had him at the frat party, And by the way, he just tore up with that song "Shout." I love that. But I mean, then they show up at the African American bar, and of course you got Peter Rajert. He goes, "Otis," and he kind of gives him that look, like they're in the wrong spot.
Can I dance with your dates? Stuff like that. But that was that. You know what? That's real, and that's real.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I've been to clubs like that where that's actually happened just in real life. What they did is just put the satire to it and amplified it, and let people say, it was just everything in that movie. Really happens, but it's just with that little twist and make you look at yourself and say, God, that was stupid, or that was ignorant, or that was like it made people think about stuff, and people laugh. It made you laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
And what it did, another thing it did, Greg, was it brought cultures together.
Yes.
That was one of the few movies at its time that didn't matter if you were African American, white, or whatever. It brought cultures together, and I just never been a person. I'm a hippie-minded person, and I just never looked at anybody's ethnicity, in life anyway. But that movie just brought it all together, and did some a lot of good for world peace.
Yeah. Well, when I interviewed Martha Smith, she said that a lot of times when there's Animal House reunions, I know she said there was like a big parade and one year for one of the anniversaries for it, and she said that Otis Day performs in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The Dexter Lake Club does it every year, once a year.
Mm-hmm.
They had the big reunion. They had the big reunion last year, that they actually made a video of it that's out. And maybe about less than 30 days ago, they had another convention here in Los Angeles. That Otis Day. He didn't perform at that one, but at the Dexter Lake Club, he performs. They relive the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, Martha said that a lot of times she and Belushi's widow there, Judy, will sing back up.
Yeah. They all done it. From Dan Aykroyd. We performed with Dan Aykroyd.
Oh, yeah.
He come on stage with us. Oh, yeah. Stephen First. Everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. If we're in their town and performing in a local area, and they were there, they come on stage with us.
Oh, nice.
Just relive the whole movie again. It's one of those things that never stops. You know what I mean? Which I love. So Otis is the ambassador of peace.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He brings them all together. Forget your troubles type thing. Let's have some fun and party and shout.
Oh, man. Yes. I got the soundtrack album. I got to say, like, he just brings gusto to that song. That is just listening to his voice and there's lots of songs that play in the radio that you feel nothing from, but you do feel something when Otis Day sings "Shout." There's something behind that. You can feel it, and that is fantastic.
Now, did you know, Greg, that song was originally done in the 50s by the Isley Brothers?
I did know that.
They wrote that.
Mm-hmm.
They wrote that and put it out. We got a chance to meet them and thank them. for doing that song because it was our lifeline. You know, we've done all kind of prestigious events doing that song, halftime show, football games, basketball for NBA, and just everything. So we got the chance to be humble and give homage to the people that allowed that to happen, which are the Isley Brothers, the original Isley Brothers.
It's interesting you mentioned that, too, because it's like 9 Inch Nails, for example, did a song called Hurt. And their version sounded really great, but boy, did they ever credit Johnny Cash when he sang it. And they just took a step back and said, man, you did a great thing with our song, you know, and I got to say, Otis Day, I think, did that song shout a lot of justice.
Oh, the Isley Brothers love us.
Yeah.
Trust me, they were more than happy and stuff, and we met their mother and stuff like that, and we even thanked her for giving birth to the Isley Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
we went back to the embryo stage, you know, and got to thank the mother for giving birth to the Isley Brothers, and because without her, the song wouldn't have been written.
There you go.
You know, we got to humble ourselves, and that's part of the business. You have to do that.
Yep.
You have to give homage. A lot of new singers right now don't really like to give credit for samples and stuff like that they do. They don't like to give the old school artists their credit, and it's just due. And I think that's a beautiful thing. That's how you continue to learn, and people are continue to give you insight and information and stuff. You must stay humble in this business, or it will eat you up.
Out of all the film sets you've been to with Otis, which one was the most fun?
Car Wash.
Oh, Car Wash. Did you meet George Carlin or Richard Pryor?
All of them. Yeah, all of them. I met Greg. I was on that set so much they thought I was part of the crew.
Oh man, you had some great talent in Car Wash. George Carlin as that taxi driver who just wasn't.
Love him. Yes. I was there at every second. Richard Pryor, when he did his thing with the Pointer Sisters,
Mm-hmm.
all of that. I was right there. You would have thought I was one of the grips or the assistant AD or something. I was right there. I met the gentleman that actually wrote the soundtrack to that movie and became good friends with. His name is Norman Whitfield, God rest his soul.
Mm-hmm.
And so a whole lot of that came out of that, and I think at that time, and how old was I? I had to be around 22 years old, 23 years old, and at that time, I was really aware of what was going on around me. So it started to be a little bit more on purpose what I did instead of just happened to be, and that movie. And movie set director Michael Schultz welcomed me with open arms.
Ah, nice.
It was never like, who's that kid? You know what I mean? You know, I go to lunch when they went to lunch. But that was the most fun out of all the movies. And the second one I would say, if there was a question with that, but the second one I would say is a movie that he did with Joe Schumacher.
Okay.
Called a DC Cab.
Okay, with Mr. T.
Mr. T. But it was so many other people, Greg, in that movie that are major stars right like that. Bill Maher. Bill Maher was in that, you know, for my politically incorrect.
Oh, I know who he is. Yep.
Yeah, Adam Baldwin, who played the lead in there, who did Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, yeah.
There were some great people in that movie that are major hits today. Matter of fact, when every now and then, and I've been to Bill Maher's house, but I see him every now and then at functions or something like that. I always remind him of that. That was the first movie he ever did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I remind him. Remember me? I was the kid over here, and I go back and tell him all this. Oh my God, you bringing back some memories. We reminisce and stuff like that. But he's another great guy.
Yeah. I hate it when he gets on his attack on Christianity, mind you, but everybody's allowed their opinion. But I do have a lot of I got a lot of respect for him, though.
He's atheist. He's not. He doesn't make any bones about it. That's who he is. He doesn't come off like that outside of the show. Just to let you know.
Well, I got a raw respect for him. I get it. Like I come from a Christian family. But I mean, I come from a Christian family, but I love Animal House, so I'm pretty diverse.
There we go. Yeah, you're conflicted. No.
I mean, I've listened.
All right, though.
I've listened to George Carlin do stand up, and the 7 words you're not supposed to say on television. Well, of course, they're saying them all the time now.
Right, they say them out loud on the radio, TV. They don't even, things that were forbidden back in those days are just the norm right now. This lets you know how life has changed, and people have changed, and what their acceptance is with certain things, people, and places. It's just the world has changed around us. Like that, and some people still don't like those things, those 7 words. You know what I mean? They're offensive. And so it's a beautiful thing when like you said, we can come together. And to in the spirit of music. And that's one thing, Greg. I was going to say that's one thing about music. Not so much as movies, because it's a visual thing, but music transcends all of that.
Yes.
It can make you. I met Dick Clark, and of course I picked his brain. We were in an elevator. So I said, "What would you?" I had to ask him some questions, right? How did your longevity? What's the secret? Not talking about your looks. I'm just talking about in the business. And he was talking about music, and he gave me this quote. I'll never forget it for the rest of my life. And he said, "Sir, the music is the soundtrack of your life."
Oh, wow.
That's yes, it might be old, but I had never heard it before. And it made all the sense in the world, because that's the only thing, Greg, that can take you to a place, a moment, a time in your life, and you can remember things verbatim, verbiage, everything, just from listening to a certain music track.
Yep. Oh, gee,
And,
there's soundtracks.
it does that.
There's soundtracks to certain movies that do that too. Like, I remember a couple of years ago, I went to a movie called Everybody Wants Some 9 times at the theater. That's the first time I've seen a movie that many times in the theater. And the soundtrack album just took me back. Rock of Ages did that too. The music to it just took me somewhere. And
Yes.
a lot of soundtracks will do that, and I liked it because they just didn't just throw songs together to make a soundtrack to make a quick buck. They actually thought about what they were using the music for, and how they what they were trying to get across to the audience, and I love that. Yeah.
And that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
If you can. Music should take you through a journey visually. You should be able to see it, visualize it. The lyrics or the time and place. I'm a big Bob Dylan fan.
Oh yes,
good storyteller. I'm a big Patsy Cline fan.
Yep.
Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash.
Big time Johnny Cash fan. Man, the songs and the lyrics and everything just put you in the moment. You can visualize it. You can see it.
Especially if it's one piece at a time.
I love one. My thing was Ring of Fire.
Ring of
That's
Fire
my
was
favorite.
my favorite, but I gotta say, One Piece at a Time was right up there as well.
Yeah, Ring of Fire. But but you listen to it, and I love it. I'm a big Elvis Presley fan.
Yep.
But my favorite song is not the ones that everybody listens to. My favorite song by Elvis Presley is Now and Then.
Okay.
Such a Fool Am I?
Okay.
That is my favorite Elvis Presley song. I got it in my iPod. I love it. I love it.
Yep. No.
Another great singer, another great person, and that had a good vision and stuff like that. And he was the ultimate entertainer. I look at old Elvis Presley stuff when he was doing gyros with his body and stuff that were forbidden, and he was looked at as the devil.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I like history. Hank Williams Jr.
Yep.
I like history of music, and when songs were written that were great. Simon and Garfunkel, Crosby, Stills and Nash.
Yes.
Those are great songs. They'll be here when me and you are gone. And that's what I look for in the music. We don't get that right now.
No.
So trying to hold on to the great stuff, man.
It's funny too, because earlier you mentioned Sam Cooke, and he did a couple of songs on the Animal House soundtrack as well, including "Wonderful World."
Yes.
You can't
Yes.
listen to that song without picturing John Belushi going around that cafeteria.
And still, who else was in there? Stephen Bishop.
You know what?
Yes, he wrote that.
I just reached out to him for an interview, but I think his schedule is way too busy. But I got a very polite decline, so maybe later I'll reach out to him. But I just remember him in that movie and John Belushi smashing his guitar.
You can't help it. That's what it is. But a lot of people don't know he's the one that wrote the theme.
Yep.
Let me tell you about the sin. That's Stephen Bishop. And, later on I started appreciating his other stuff, like On and stuff like that. But
Yep.
Stephen Bishop and people like that did no cameos in the movie. Classics, man.
Yeah, I like that.
You cannot outdo that. It's almost like the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Type thing. It's timeless. You can look at it many times, and each time you look at it, you'll find one little nugget in there that you didn't realize that was. God, I missed that. I didn't realize that happened. That's how I am with Animal House movie. I look at it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever it's on, or I look at it, and there's always one little nugget in there that I had missed.
Well,
I love it, man.
I discovered that was Stephen Bishop because we're singing that corny song that John Belushi just decides he's going to cut that off short. And it gives him the battered guitar back and says, sorry.
Right. That's funny, man. But it's like I said, I think you hit it down on the nail head, and it's one of those movies, man, you can live over and over again. And anybody that's been to college, and I've been to all these frats and sororities and everything, man, we started off. Matter of fact, that's how I came to your great country of Canada, because we did all those fraternities and schools and colleges and stuff. I think I've done every college in the United States. And so it's a beautiful thing, man. Those guys just relive it.
Mm-hmm.
And who are corporate guys now? They're corporate owners, and And what they do is call the group back for their corporate performances and stuff, and parties and stuff, private parties. So Otis does a lot of those.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah. Oh, I love that movie, and of course, unfortunately, John Belushi gone. We just lost Stephen First, and John Vernon gone, who was wonderful as Dean Wormer.
Yeah.
But
they had characters, man. I keep forgetting the guy. Who was the guy that drove the motorcycle and stuff? I loved his character too.
Bruce McGill played D-Day,
D-Day. D-Day.
Yeah, D-Day.
I loved it. I loved it. And, people like that. I mean, there were so many characters you could choose and pick on anyone that you want. You could look at the movie 1,000 times and just focus on one character, from the girls in the sorority to Tim Matheson, all that. You could just really, go down and just look at each part and stuff, from the principal, the dean, everybody, Needlemeyer, everybody. There's so much to choose and pick from, whoever you related to.
How great was it,
How
great was it, Niedermeyer being in those Twisted Sister songs, the videos?
I loved it. I'm a Twisted Sister fan, but yeah, it kind of worked. And then if you could not help it, say, okay, that's Niedermeyer. You didn't even call him his name. That's what it was. The characters became bigger than the person himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those that graduated from from that movie all became, and they still hold on to those dreams and everything. They're still Needlemeyer, and they're still Belushi and all these other people that were in that movie, man. They still live it. You should see the parties and the stuff that Otis does now. You would think that movie came out last month.
Yeah.
Togas everywhere.
Yep.
Everybody's filthy drunk, and but having fun.
Yeah.
And just reliving the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, carting sorority girls around in a shopping cart and leaving them on
all that
the mayor's front yard.
All that. Now, who hasn't thought of it if they haven't did it? You know what I'm saying? So it kind of messes with you like that. The man thing. Just leave around here. That wouldn't be acceptable today, but back then you're dealing with these idiots, and it was highly probable that they would do something like that.
Yep.
So, it all worked out. It all came together. And John Landis is a genius.
Mm-hmm.
For putting it together and letting that cast be who they were. Not too many personalities were not the person that did the parts. Whoever did casting on that movie was outstanding.
Well, originally, I think they wanted a lot of Saturday Night Live people, because originally they wanted Chevy Chase to play Otter. They wanted Bill Murray to play Boone. They wanted Dan Aykroyd to play D-Day. And you could kind of see that now, looking at the movie. You could picture them saying those lines, But
and the worst mistake that those people that you just mentioned didn't do was get into that movie.
Yeah.
If you look at it in hindsight, because Dan Aykroyd as D-Day, I could see that. That's perfect.
Yep. Well, even listen to Tim Madison say the lines for Otter. You could totally see Chevy Chase saying the same thing. And Chase went on to do, of course, Foul Play with Goldie Hawn, which I don't think he regrets. But I'm kind of like, wow, it might have been interesting to see what he did with this. And, of course, Bill Murray playing Boone, I could see that, too.
Yeah, those characters weren't too far away from those people that we did see on Saturday Night Live. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I could see the demeanors were pretty much the same. I could see them just doing the part just natural, and coming off just as successful. But I don't think at that time their mindsets were probably in different places. They probably had a couple other movie offers on the table that were probably paying a little bit more money and everything, and that's how they were kind of basing their decisions and careers off of at that time. And but this has been the gift that continues to give.
Yeah,
I mean, Otis Day made a complete different career out of it, and still performs today, because of that movie.
And of course, let's not forget Doug Kenny was in that movie, and he, of course, one of the Lampoon writers, and he, of course, played Stork in the movie, and left us way early.
Stork!
Yep,
Yes,
Stork. Everybody thought Stork was brain dead.
Yes, Stork was special. I love that character too. And when you can remember characters as vividly as that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's mission accomplished right there. That's mission accomplished. I mean, you can't get me. I mean, every character that we've talked about, you've mentioned, and I have basically are stapled in our mind. We know exactly who they are. We can see the part. We can see them. Stork was special, baby, but he fit right in. But didn't he fit right in?
Yeah.
He fit right in.
Oh, he had that one line there with Belushi goes, "What the hell you think we're supposed to do, you moron?"
You know, so hey, you know, like I said, they won't be able to redo that again. They were going to try to make an Animal House 2, just to let you know. And they said, why destroy it?
Yeah.
Which was probably the best thing. They were going to make an updated version with some different characters. John Belushi was gone. That was the spirit of the movie.
Yeah.
They were going to bring Dan Aykroyd. They were going to bring Jim Belushi in.
Okay.
And bring in a couple of the major players, Otis included, as part of the alumni part. So they were going to say, you know, but National Lampoon, which I thought that was a smart move. You know, why destroy something? You can't do no better than that. And the second movie would have diminished the significance of the first.
Yeah,
So I thought that was a good move.
Just look at Blues Brothers 2000 to see a diminished sequel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, and they kind of wore that out too. They couldn't wear it out. I'm still a fan of it, but but 2000 was kind of like, okay, we're pushing it way too hard.
Yeah.
You know, the first one was always going to be the best.
Yeah. And let's not forget Donald Sutherland playing the professor too. I'm not kidding. This is my job.
And I love him too. Great, another great actor.
Yep.
Another great actor, you know, and and I'm a big fan of Donald Sutherland too.
Yes.
And his sons, you know, Keith Sutherland, and all those guys they're just great actors, and you're not going to be ever be able to replace them.
No.
You know, or outdo that.
No.
So, you know, that's a beautiful thing. That's what it's supposed to be about. The Wizard of Oz, like I said, I always related to The Wizard of Oz. That's my favorite movie of all time. And you're not going to be able to outdo that.
Nope.
You know, that was made in like the 50s or something like that. 40s.
Oh, gee, no, 39.
When was it made? When was it made?
1939.
See?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
I got to work later on in my career for Sony Pictures here in Los Angeles and Culver City, and the Understage 6, they still have the Yellow Brick Road.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they just built the floor up a little higher above it, but it's still there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, little history for you.
There
If
you
you're ever
go.
in Los Angeles, visit Sony and ask them, can you go to the stage where the Yellow Brick Road is? Everybody knows it.
Okay. Well, yeah, they will keep that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another great thing that happened to old Gregg in his little lifetime. Got to work in the movie business on a studio and stuff like that. So I got to meet a lot of people. It's like a fishbowl to me. I got to see how operations were made and movies were made and stuff like that from Stuart Little on down. And that was an amazing experience, too. Didn't like the corporate thing because I had a musician's type mind. But the experience of working there was priceless. Excuse me.
Well, on all the years that you was touring with Otis Day, you must have some stories to share about stuff that happened on the road. You want to share anything with us?
Oh, Lord. Oh Lord. That's a good one. That's a good one right there. There's a many of them. I'm trying to quantify just to make see. I don't want to get nobody in trouble. It's a whole lot of things that wives and girlfriends and stuff don't know. So I had to watch myself a little bit. I'm trying to think of something that really, let me go back to the very first gig we ever did.
Okay.
Okay, we did it for the Sigma Chi's out here in Cal State, Fullerton,
Okay.
and it was the very first thing we ever did as Otis Day and the Knights. And what I saw, first of all, everybody's in togas doing their thing, right? Reliving the movie.
Okay.
But God, they were jumping through the windows of the frat house.
Oh my God.
I mean, seriously, jumping through the windows, coming back. All scarred up and everything, still partying. That is one of those memories that you never forget because we weren't expecting anything like that. We thought it was going to be pretty much of a concert and everybody, sits back and watching, maybe a little dancing and da-da-da. But when we seen how the reaction from that, we were actually singing and performing, but we were looking at each other more than anything else. Like, did you see that? He just jumped through the window. That kind of thing, man. We get, and then we always get that long guy at the end telling Otis that he's God, and so that's I think that's the one that really sticks out. The very first show that we ever did as a unit, as Otis Day and the Knights coming back. Oh, and you know what? I was going to tell you this. The guitar player,
Okay.
in the movie.
All right.
His name is Robert Cray.
All right.
Robert Cray is a Grammy Award winner.
Okay.
He plays with Brian Seltzer and those guys with Stray Cats. This guy's a Grammy Award winner, and the only reason why that band didn't go out with Otis was for religious reasons.
All right.
Yeah, because remember they made the name up impromptu right there. It wasn't. Matter of fact, we went back and trademarked the name. Okay, they hadn't trademarked it. It wasn't supposed to be like that, and for religious reasons, they did the movie. The players they did the movie part because it was a movie. But when it came down to going out on the road, playing rock and roll music, and doing that type of thing because of religious beliefs, they declined it.
Oh.
They were supposed to take. It was supposed to have been National Lampoon actually wanted that band to go out on tour to promote the movie, and the reason why it didn't was because of that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing
They
wrong with
regret
a
it
song
too.
like. Yeah. Well, I should hope so.
Yeah, but Robert Cray wound up being the guitar player in that movie. Wound up being a Grammy winner, double Grammy winner, I believe.
Of course, you get the guy too. You always hear making the woo sounds in the background too.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes, man.
Yeah.
Some decisions that we make, and we meet you and everybody else. We look back and say, God, I should have took that. I should have took that gig. I should have took that one. I should have took that one. But everybody's got there's a reason for everything to happen exactly the way it did.
Mm-hmm.
National Lampoon never came at us, cease and desist, because we were basically doing the promo tour that they were trying to put together from the beginning.
Yeah.
Gave us a record deal. As a matter of fact, they rewarded us, if anything, gave us a record deal and the whole bit, and we enjoy it. I still book Otis. I'm not on the road with him, but I actually still book him.
Mm-hmm.
For private events and stuff like that. I'm still running operations in that area with him.
Okay.
He's
Well,
my uncle. He can't.
well, let's talk about Hanley Entertainment. How did you come
Oh,
into that? What made you go into that?
I, as we spoke earlier, sometimes you need to back up,
Mm-hmm.
see the big picture. Sometimes you're too close to things. Greg, I partied for 20 years, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
20 years. That's enough. That's a whole grown child, you know.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying. And you got to back up from that. Partying every night. Coming home was the vacation. You know, touring all over places. Half the time you don't know where you're at because you wake up in another state, city, country, and I have children.
Mm-hmm.
And my children, that's how I was raised. My mother sacrificed everything for her children, and so that's who I was made of.
Mm-hmm.
My children always came first to me, and I had, by the grace of God, um, business savvy. I learned the business first, and I knew that there were other avenues for me to do instead of going out being a singer
Yep.
and running an operation. I had other options,
Mm-hmm.
and I weighed that out, and it was one of the hardest things I had to do is to tell my uncle, who basically, like I said, as a child, took me everywhere and did everything with me, introduced me to some great people
Mm-hmm.
that I still work with today, to tell him that I was going to retire after the 1998 tour. I had to back off of it. He supported me.
Yeah.
He supported me. Whatever you want, if that's the best thing. He said, I really want you to sing. Come out and just sing, because we're a family. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? My sister was out there performing with us too, so we're a family out there. It wasn't like we just a bunch of strangers and we hooked up. It was my blood, and but I had to take a break from that and
Yeah.
come back into reality, ground myself a little bit, and smell the roses. I was missing little things in my life, like the little things, like going to the movies or
Yep.
looking at the trees and the flowers and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, man, I just I wanted a more simple life.
Yep.
So with that, I took all the knowledge that I had, that my father had been blessed me with, that my uncle Otis had blessed me with, and all those connections of 20 years, plus the Aretha Franklin days, the James Cleveland, Billy Preston days, the Little Richard days, Bobby Day. I took all of that and put together my own company, Hanley Entertainment.
Yep.
And today I still call back on all of those references and people to help me run my business today. I have very good relationships with them. We made a lot of good money, made a lot of people happy. We covered a lot of ground, good business, and nobody's mad. Everybody did well, so we're all mad. We're happy, and that's a good time to leave on a
Yep.
high note.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Old Jerry Steinfeld thing, but leave on a high note. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's what it was. Timing was everything. It was in my heart. I didn't feel like going back on the road. Road is hard, Greg.
I bet it is.
It's hard, bro. You got to go out there. You're jumping from plane to plane, bus to bus, hotel to hotel, city to city. After a while, you're losing a little grip, on who you really are. And I wanted to stay grounded.
Yes.
So I forced myself, and I said, well, God, you're going to lose a lot of money. That's always a caveat. Oh, you're going to lose a lot of money, you're gonna do this and that, and then I said, well, I got children; those are priceless. Whatever I give them is priceless. You can never, it's not a put a dollar on that.
Nope.
So that was the linchpin for me to be there for my children. I used to take them out on the road with me. Matter of fact.
Yeah.
And just to let them see where Daddy was at 2 and 3 months out of at a time and stuff. I used to take them on stage and let them meet people like Tiny Tim and stuff. Just really a great experience. So they understood. So I retired from that. And when I retired from that, I created my company, Hanley Entertainment. With Hanley Entertainment, I started working for Michael Jackson. I did 2 albums with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did 2 albums with Michael Jackson. A video game called Sonic 3, which was never released because of the allegations of molestation the first time.
Yeah.
So Sega Genesis shelved it. But I worked on that. Then I actually worked on the History 2 album with him. There's a song on there called They Don't Really Care About Us.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that. And the bonus tracks on that, because that was a compilation greatest hits album. I worked on all what they call the bonus tracks, all the new stuff that was going to be released to push it. After that, I started working with another favorite group of mine, the Temptations.
Okay.
Yeah, I started working with the Temptations and did a couple of albums in the studio with them as a production coordinator. I was always the paper guy. I always liked being like yourself, like you said, the background. I like the gears.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really want to be on the forefront anymore. I wasn't planning on being a solo artist or nothing myself, So I did that and got my credentials, got myself regrounded in the industry out here in Los Angeles, which is all a political machine. And you meet the same people on the way up as you on the way down, Greg. And all these people I had good relationships with. So what I did with Hanley Entertainment, I said, you know what? All these people, you got all these things, and I hear that a lot of times in Hollywood, man. And I said, but unless you can say that you're working with them, it's nothing but stroking ego, saying that you know them.
Yeah.
So what? So what? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I started working with these people. I called all those people back that I had been known ever since I was like going back to our first beginning of this interview when I was 16 years old.
Oh, fantastic.
And I called them back. Start working with them.
And the fact that you were real, that made a major connection with them, I bet, right?
Yes.
Yep. Because when you're real, they trust you. Yes.
Yes, and that going back to the top of our interview, that's when I realized. That's when the light bulb went on. Here I am. I don't want to get my age, but I was in my 30s. That's when I kind of realized that. Oh, that's why, I'm around this. And the light had never really went on. I couldn't understand why Barry White likes me. He hired me as a kid.
Between you and I, you're 39.
Yes. I hope this is being recorded. And, for references later. But, the light bulb went on, and the relationships that I had. What you need, Greg? That's all I was getting. What do you need? How can I help? What do you want to do? How do you want to do it? I said, wow, the reception was overwhelming. You know what I mean? It's like I had never left and for 20 years. And I was kind of amazed by that, to be honest with you, man. I was like, whoa, what's going on? So what I did, the music industry, because I worked with Motown, and I worked with RCA Records on different projects with other people. And when the traditional record companies kind of like start going downhill. This has happened when I was working at Sony Pictures,
Okay.
with Tommy Mottola and all these other people, and Napster and all these other file sharing situations were coming up with music, and I seen how he mishandled that so much. Instead of buying Napster,
Mm-hmm.
he tried to fight him, and I seen what the results with that was. He lost his job, so I knew the music business was changing. And then when I started working for Sony,
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, how can I do this? There's a void now in the music business. And the void is that thing that every artist tries to fight for is their residual rights, their publishing, the PR and
Yeah.
A&R. All that was pretty much gone. And what Hanley Entertainment does is exactly that. It fills those voids for those independent artists, for those artists that work with even great people. They don't have to have these big names, but work with these great people,
Mm-hmm.
and but have their own projects now. I went back to when the people that I've been known and worked with that were my mentors.
Mm-hmm.
With gold and platinum on there. They don't need me, and brought them back to the forefront. Went
Yeah.
back and got them.
I've actually done interviews with people in the film industry who have been, especially Canadian artists, actors who have been don't get residuals or they've been mistreated. But the residual things, I've had people say to me, like I right now, my interviews are not monetized. And I get a conflict about that because I think the people I interview should get a piece of it. That's just how I was brought up. And I had somebody say to me, well, they get paid already. And I'm like, not necessarily, because I'm running into a lot of people that were screwed over in the industry. And I don't want to be the next person to do that. So when you mention residuals and whatnot, and yeah, you're doing a good thing there by looking after them.
And that's what Hanley Entertainment is.
Mm-hmm.
I've been blessed. The internet radio came along.
Yep.
People have really stopped doing the terrestrial radio thing, and being fed what those stations want them to hear.
Yep.
Music, and the millennials have made the music industry more personalized,
Mm-hmm.
where you can listen to what you want. You choose your own playlist or what you want to hear when you want to hear it, and stuff like that. And I did I got on Facebook and social media kind of late, maybe only 5 years ago, compared to, what I had been seeing. People have been on there for a long time. I was late, and the only reason why I did that was because my daughter was in college,
Yep.
and that was the way I communicated with her. So that was after I seen what people were doing on social media and stuff. And I got a lot of good, I study a lot. I do a lot of research, Greg, before I just jump in. I didn't really like social media at first. And I said, the only way I'll get into that is something, I have an entrepreneur type mindset.
Yeah.
So I got on social media, and I say within the first 9 months of being on social media, one of my friends on there was looking for a band for a corporate event for the city that she lived in San Diego, here in the States. And I made money off of it.
Oh,
I said,
wow.
what? I said, yeah, I made good money. I was a little surprised. I said, I said, I'm not gonna come with the attitude in social media of I don't post pictures of my family,
Mm-hmm.
of my kids and stuff like that. My page on social media, both Instagram and Facebook, are business pages.
Mm-hmm.
I figured out, wow, okay, so what's this internet radio stuff about? Start getting friends that did that, because most of the friends that I have on my list are industry people. So I started getting this this internet thing. The internet radio thing. I said, I like that. That's personalized. That's what people are right now and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I've accumulated, just to make a long story short, I've accumulated within the last 5 years. I have six radio, internet radio company partners. Okay, from the UK off to the Midwest, East Coast, down south, and two here in California. One's a live stream TV, radio. It's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
So that's our hand, and with the same concept, bringing those great groups, singers that people that they're being sampled right now to the forefront.
Absolutely.
Whole nother pool there, untapped.
Yep.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
And they're more than grateful because some of them have let time go get too far ahead of them, the technology and stuff, and they don't really want to, And there's a lot now, things that they were praying for back then to be in more control of their careers. They see that now the companies that were doing that, it's a lot of work behind it. It's not just putting a record out, a new record, and say, here's Joe Schmo, and everybody's just going to gravitate to it. The generation has changed and everything. You have to be, there's a mechanism behind that. It has to be a machine behind it. So Hanley Entertainment does exactly that with a machine behind it. And for people that don't want managers that are leery because of, like you said, past experiences of not being paid and, are not negotiating a contract or not knowing what they're signing or not studying and everything, which is 50% of the artist's fault. I'm gonna be honest with you, because you have to, you have to be up on what you're doing. Don't just be so artistry that you don't understand the business of the music of what you're doing and be able to negotiate it, to somewhat of your life. And it's never going to be in your favor completely, but at least you can have something or get something out of where this, I'm going to get a percentage out. This is going to be my percentage for that, and then do your homework.
Mm-hmm.
And so Hanley Entertainment offers that, with graphic, with I have online magazine partners. I have interviewers that do print write-up, which is not, everybody's not on social media. People still read.
Yep.
So, I have that mechanism. I have UK, which is from a lot of these artists that I work with now, Greg. UK kind of appreciates our music and the musicology, the history of our music a lot more than what we do. We're just on to the next best thing here,
Yep.
Where they kind of nurtured the history of it, the players, the who played on the session, when the music was released, the names, their history. And so that's been like a huge blessing to me, getting my artists over to radio play over into the UK, Germany, France. A lot of these expand all through the European countries over there. So it kind of worked out with that. I have an Asian marketing thing with China.
Okay.
You have to be invited to go, but I have a person in place that actually has the foot in over there already. That's her job. Communicate to the Chinese delegation, get sponsorships and stuff like that. And they really love R&B over there, which I was surprised. They have a huge R&B. They're youngsters. Love R&B music, the old school and the new stuff. They really appreciate it. So that's another market that wasn't tapped into.
What's your favorite kind of music?
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Okay.
I'm a rock and roll. I'm a hippie, man. No, seriously, man. Buffalo Springfield and all these people and that I grew up, the Beatles and stuff like that. I grew up with that, and that's gonna be my rock forever.
Okay.
I'm more gravitated to it naturally.
Okay. Well, you got a lot of you worked with a lot of artists. I was going to ask, and I'm not digging dirt here, but I couldn't help. But you mentioned you worked with Michael Jackson. What was your
Yeah.
impressions on him? Because I know I when I grew up, I remember when the Thriller album came out, and a great record. The Bad album, again, great record. But what was your impressions working with him?
Loved it.
Okay.
Every minute of it.
Mm-hmm.
Every minute of it. One thing I learned something from those projects I was on with him, because I worked with his producers and Brad Buxer and
Okay.
another good friend of mine named Daryl Ross.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened with that, I learned a big lesson on how to treat people.
Okay.
Michael Jackson, you can actually tell. I mean, that he was a really good a person outside of the persona and all this other stuff. And I'm doing business with his inner works, with his accounting department at MJJ and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They were all happy. That's the first thing I noticed. They were all happy. They were all approachable. They were all, it wasn't arrogance or, I work for Michael Jackson and There wasn't nothing like that. They were all happy. That means that their boss was happy.
That's good.
That means that's how they were treated. They weren't pissed off because they had to do this or they will all go that extra yard
Mm-hmm.
and do whatever necessary. And that's a reflection of their boss. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
he treated me well.
Yeah.
I put in my invoices and stuff, for my project and everything. He paid me double.
Oh, wow.
I thought it was a mistake.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Michael Jackson. Of course, there's the whole allegations and whatnot, and of course, I'm not there, so I don't know what happened. But I find a lot of times with the media, nowadays you don't know what's true or not, what's not. And when you got Trump saying fake news, you don't know what's real anymore,
Sensationalism. They're trying to sell papers and
Yep.
they're trying to make you look at the newscasts and bring in teasers and hit cliffhangers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm media savvy, so I can kind of see it. I get a little tired of it because I know, but it's really a lot of that stuff that he went through in his personal life and everything. I was there when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
The first allegation, I was there working on that project with him, and I seen how that went down. It didn't stop anything as far as production and everything. Sega Genesis, like I said, decided it wasn't good PR for them, putting out the new game and using him as the springboard for kids and people to buy it.
Yeah.
That it was a marketing thing for them. He wound up beating the case, settling, or whatever happened and everything. But it's really like my lawyer says, no good deed goes unpunished.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I don't think he was having sex with little boys. I believe that he was he was a child himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he lived his life a lot through kids, because kids, and I work with kids today, just to let you know that,
Mm-hmm.
are very, they're brutally honest, where you can't get from an adult, where they have to think about what's going to be said and how is it going to be taken, and that type of thing. Kids will just tell you what it is, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's how they feel. They don't care about how you feel, who you tell. And I think he felt a lot comfortable being around kids. I mean, his kids are well-adjusted children.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? His daughter had a breakdown because she lost her father, but his youngest child is a magnum student in school. You know, you don't hear riffraff about his kids being unadjusted, doing stupid and crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was a good parent.
Well, Macaulay
You know,
Culkin and Corey Feldman, I think, both stood by him. So,
yeah.
yep.
You know, but you know, and then child stars and stuff, so they related to him. You got to remember, Michael Jackson was pushed in the spotlight among millions and millions and millions and millions of people, telling him that he's the greatest thing in the world at age 10 and
Yes.
9.
Yeah, the Jackson 5, yep.
You know, he had
Mm-hmm.
handlers. I knew his handlers back in those days, and so he was how can I say, overprotected in areas. He was in a bubble
Mm-hmm.
of what real life is. That's why he used to go out in disguises and stuff, just to be, like I said, to smell the roses. Just
Yep.
to be a normal human being and walk around and enjoy things just like me and you do every day. You know what I'm saying? This man has to dress up in disguise and stuff like that. And
I
it
wish
was
I wish
amazing.
I wish he stayed away from the plastic surgery, because way back in the Jackson 5 days, there was nothing wrong with him. You know, he was a good-looking guy. I never got that. Was he not happy with himself physically or what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Did it right on. But you know who did it? It wasn't people that outside of him. You know who did that to him? His own family.
Wow.
His own family used to call him Big Nose. That was his nickname in the house.
Oh, wow. I never even
So
noticed his nose.
yeah, I mean, he had a nose. Okay, you know, he had a nose. You know, he's African American. You know, he has different features. You know, and stuff like that. You know, it doesn't matter. But he was told that he was ugly.
Oh, that'll do it.
His own family did that. I don't know if that was enviness or, you know, or jealousy and you know, fighting to see who's on first, and what didn't matter. His own family did that to him. Then a stranger, Greg, can tell me or you anything, we can brush it off. You know, who's that?
Mm-hmm.
But if a family member is telling you this, that's kind of personal.
Yes.
You know, that affects you way more than, say, like somebody you don't know. Like, well, this guy don't know me. What the hell is he talking about? You know, but if somebody in your family that you see every day is sitting up here demeaning you every day, calling you names and stuff, you know, come on. So that's what the situation with his plastic surgery was. And after a while, he started believing that that he didn't look good. The first thing that he did several times was what? His nose.
Yeah, and that got to be a mess towards the end of his life.
It's like being a bulimic, though.
Yep.
You know, you no matter how small you get at the losing weight, you still look in the mirror and you still see fat.
Yeah.
You still see that you're overweight. It's after a while, it's a psychological thing, you know. And you're abusing. Then what you start doing is abusing yourself
Yep.
because you go ahead.
Yeah, I hear you. Yep.
That's what it was. That's what it was. That's what it was. It's a sad situation.
Yes.
You know, I seen unfortunately, last time I seen Michael Jackson was at a funeral, and he was we were mourning and sending home one of the Temptations, Melvin Franklin, the bass player, the bass
Okay.
singer,
All right.
real good friend, sweetheart of a guy, and Michael came to that and everything. It looked normal to me.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't nothing strange or nothing about him. You know, I knew what the industry had pretty much did to him. I knew the history of what I'm telling you right now. That
Mm-hmm.
you know, they kind of did a number on him when he was a kid, calling him names,
Yep.
and you know, telling him that he wasn't look good. That you know, appearance stuff.
Yes.
You know,
No, but way back, like in the Jackson 5, there was nothing wrong with him, and I have to
No.
scratch my head about that. But you know what? The media does that. You know, every magazine, you know, they want you to look this, look that, you know, and after a while,
Right.
people start believing it. You got
I
women.
believe in it, man.
You got women now that will have dinner and then they'll go to the washroom and try to throw it back up. You know, I don't.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel sorry for women. I have four sisters and a mother. I feel sorry for women. You got sisters and aunties and mom, wife or whatever. They're being told 12 hours a day that they're not good enough.
Exactly.
On TV.
Yes.
You got to look this way. You got to be this way. What you're losing too much weight. You gain too much weight. Are your breasts small? They breasts big? What's wrong with your behind? Your hair's not done. They're being told for the sake of industry and to sell a product that they're not good enough.
Mm-hmm. I
tell my daughter every day she's beautiful.
Yep.
Every day I get daily affirmation every day, bro. And to make sure that you don't, and question her when she starts putting herself down a little bit, because of all this stuff she has to deal with on a daily basis. And has to, are you suffering from low self-esteem for what? I call her on it, and she's a very beautiful girl. And she really kind of tones her beauty down because she doesn't want to be a piece of item.
Yes. Yep, I hear you.
Doesn't wear all that makeup and all that crap,
Mm-hmm.
And when she puts it on, I'm surprised that you got makeup on, that type thing, because she doesn't want to be perceived in that in that area. She's very beautiful, and then she's kind of like went in reverse in that, instead of dialing herself up. She's girly girl, of course, but she's still dialing herself up and all this fake hair and all this other crap. Mm-hmm. And enhancements and stuff like that. None of that.
Mm-hmm.
Hates to wear makeup.
Yep. I used to be down on myself physically until one movie that inspired me was Saturday Night Fever, and I just went and I got myself a makeover, and I couldn't believe how it changed my perception and my attitude about myself. And it was all from seeing John Travolta walk down the street in the opening of Saturday Night Fever with the red shirt and the black. Yeah. And I walked past Tip Top Tailors, and I saw the red shirt, and I was like, I knew what I had to do. And I did not realize, and my family has said this, and my friends have said this, it says, you've changed, and for the better, because I used to be just a tragedy to be around because I was all the time putting myself down. Now it's like, I got, not only do I feel better about myself, but, I'm doing stuff like this, and I realize, God created me with value, and I'm happy where I'm at. So
Amen.
So I find that's very important, that people have confidence in their abilities, and if they can't achieve their dreams, maybe they might be able to shift in a similar direction somewhere else, and I find that happens too. If something doesn't work out, it's like, hey, let's try this, and they end up finding that they have a talent that they didn't realize they had,
And that's what I love. What you just said right there, you have a God-given talent. Everybody has one. Everybody has one. God doesn't make mistakes in that area, but you have to tap into it. Mm-hmm. You have to kind of like and know what it is and know what it's not, and know your limitations and stuff like that. And your weaknesses, you can always be stronger if you work on your weaknesses. You already know what you're good at. Let's work on some of these things that are not that you're not so good in.
I always loved that scene in the original Fame where you feel for the girl she's not going to make it as a ballet dancer. She's horrible at ballet, and finally her teacher instructor has to give her the news. You're not going to make it. I'm sorry. I'm just giving it to you the truth, and you can feel this woman's pain, this girl's pain, and then they're at the subway, and she's edging closer to the track there, and you're under the impression, because everybody's off singing in the rain, and they're splashing in the puddles, and finally they see her, and it's like they think she's going to jump on the track, and the train goes by, and then they're looking at her, and she goes, well, if I can't be a ballet dancer, maybe I could be an actress, because she had fooled them. And I love that. I love
Good
that.
one.
Yes, that
Good
scene
one.
just resonated with me, because she put she figured, you know what? Let's try this avenue, and she succeeded in that area. So I
And
like.
and brought a new style to the ballet thing too. That was another part of that movie that I liked too. She wasn't a traditional ballet person. She was she created her own little style in doing it, and she was happy within herself with it. And I think that's the moral of the story. That you have to be happy within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes these dreams that we put in our minds, aren't what our purpose is supposed to be. It's just a caveat. It's just a step, and it's to get you to the other thing that you're supposed to be doing in your life. I listen to people. I work with children today in probation and DCSF, which is foster care out here, and Department of Mental Health. And I educated myself in that too, just in case I wanted to get out of the music business.
Mm-hmm.
I do it every week, and I give back to these kids and that don't have what me and you have, as that self-motivation to get yourself out of bed. They don't have the experiences that we have, and instill that in these young men and women, but predominantly these young men, 12 to 18 years old, that parents have basically abandoned them. They don't even know what it is to be a man.
No.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
And they don't have any structure and stuff. So I give back, Greg, to make that short. And that's my way of saying to my God that I worship, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know
you watch stuff for me. Go ahead.
You sent me a long. No, don't worry about it. I was gonna say, you sent me a long list of contacts that you have for Hanley Entertainment. You got, like I said, you got a lot of people that have faith in your ability. You want to talk about some of the contacts, some of the highlights that you have for Hanley Entertainment?
Well, a lot of those people that are on that list, Mike, are my dream. That's my dream list.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I documented it like that. And I have, every now and then I have to go look back at it and add names onto it as I increase and go, because these people are music heroes to me.
Mm-hmm.
These are people that when I was a child listening to their music and stuff, that inspired me to get through that next day, that next moment, next relationship, whatever, that next day. And some people, and I make it a point, Greg, when I see these people, I let them know that.
Yep.
I say, thank you. What are you thanking me for? Because if it wasn't for this thing that you did right here, said what you said, this song right here, that performance right there, I don't know if I would have made it to the next day, or made made that change in my life, or like that. So that is actually my wish list, okay? And the God allows me to go back and reflect on it and look at it and say, wow, you've done a whole lot of things. A lot of people, it's like that bucket list.
Yeah.
Of entertainers that, I never thought that I would be working with Michael Jackson. He's the one that inspired me to sing a note. Mm-hmm. Okay, but I wound up working for this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So here we go. Okay, I'm happy. I wound up working with people like the Temptations, and it's just dreams come true. Coming back, people I mentioned earlier in the interview with like Bobby Day, that wrote Rockin' Robin that Michael performed, Little Bitty Pretty One that Michael performed. This is like my Uncle Bobby. I got to work with him, though. I went on the road with him for 3 years. Buffalo Springfield, Three Dog Night. Me and Chuck Negro, Three Dog Night are tight.
Mm-hmm.
This is my friend. These are my friends, in other words.
Yeah.
They're not people that just are in the music business that got some high-end names. These are my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I run my business like that. I don't just take on clients. That's another thing I don't do. I don't take on clients. I don't have this big giant website with all this stuff because I didn't want that.
Yeah.
I wanted my my and their experience with Hanley Entertainment to be a personal one.
Yes.
Undivided attention. Call me anytime, morning, noon, day, and night.
Mm-hmm.
We'll figure it out. We'll plan out. We'll strategize and figure this out so you can achieve what you want to. And I'm gonna tell you something, Mike, Greg. It's I enjoy every minute of it.
Yes, I can relate. Yeah.
Every minute of it. I work with the Gordy family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've welcomed me into their circle. I don't know. I don't even ask no questions no more. But, you know, me and Barry Gordy's daughter are like sister and brother. You know, these are people and mentors and stuff like that. And not one time, I'm going to tell you something. Now, I've been around her father just last week.
Mm-hmm.
I've never asked him for autograph. I don't come at him to like a fan and all these other things because that's what everybody else does. Never even took a picture with the man.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to be part of. I don't want to be part of that.
Well, what's up? What's coming up in the future for Hanley Entertainment?
Well, I'm always looking to grow.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like growing. And I like venturing off in other areas of music and entertainment that's new to me.
Mm-hmm.
I challenge myself with that all the time. I like what you do.
Oh, this is fun. Yep.
No, I mean, I think most people that think that when I ask them to come do an interview, that I'm the guy that's going to do the interview. I'm not the guy doing the interview. That's not, you know, I'm not really good at that. I stay in my lane with that. But I admire, like what you do. Everybody just can't do that. It's a certain way that has to be done and framed and put and you know, walked down. You know, like you're so eloquently doing it right now. You've been through my whole life, and it's been painless. You know what I'm saying? That's an art to me.
Yeah.
You know, everybody can't do that.
Well, it's just something I kind of fell into, so and I've been enjoying it ever since. Yeah, I'm getting that feeling. I'm getting good at it because I've had.
You're good at it. You're there, bro. You're not getting. You're there. You're good. You're the first interview I've ever done. I told you that earlier.
I appreciate that. Well, yeah,
ever done.
Yeah, I know you tried to make a connection here, and things just weren't happening, and I had to make up for that. And I was like, I wanted to hear your story because obviously you're in the business. You have Hanley Entertainment. I wanted to hear your story because I interview a lot of actors and musicians, but people that do what you do, I don't interview a lot of those. And so I thought this would be something different, you know. And I'm glad I had you on here today. You've got a very, very
thank you.
Yeah, you got a very young at heart kind of disposition to you, and I like that.
Still learning, Greg.
Yeah.
Still learning, and I want to stay that way. I want to stay hungry. I want to stay learning. I'm intrigued by what other people do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's always a learning situation. I'm learning from you right now how to do interviews and how with my other radio partners to conduct an interview or how an interview was done. I'm doing one with you, and like I said, I was a little nervous when I first did this because I've never done an interview. Even with Otis Day, that's never been my shtick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as doing interviews, I'll let him go do it. He's a natural at it, and I said, wow, you know what I do, what do I say, and you've made me feel so comfortable that I basically told you everything that had ever happened to me in my life, and it was painless.
Well, you know what I find the key is I try to let my guest do the talking. You know, I'll ask a question here and there, you know, and you hear me, you know, aha, or, you know, whatever, you know, but I like to have my listeners hear as much of the guest as possible because people aren't tuning into my show to hear me. They want to hear my guests, and that's not a knock against me. It's that I'm not Howard Stern. I love Howard Stern, but I'm not. I don't have his personality. He can go on the radio and he can dominate because he's this huge personality. He's extremely talented, but I'm not there. But I can do this, and so I don't think my show would be my show without people like yourself coming on here and being part of it. So I always,
Thank you.
yes,
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you've allowed me to vent. It's almost like therapy, and because it made me think about all the things that I have to be grateful for.
You've got a lot to be grateful for, yeah.
I have a lot to be grateful for, and this humbles me down again to let me know what it's really about, and to stay that way. It's gotten you this far. Don't change. You don't need to improve the mousetrap. You know, just stay in who you are. Be honest. Be truthful. Try to surround yourself with as many people as you possibly can that are the same way, and live your life.
Yep. Well, I don't know where this is going to take me. Right now, I'm a volunteer at it, but you know what? If I'm a volunteer till the end of my days doing this, I'm happy doing it. You know, I love doing this. This is amazing.
That means you're gonna profit from it, to me, because you're not doing it for the money.
No,
people start. Greg, well, I was just going to tell you, when you start focusing in just on the monetary part of it, you lose.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be your motivation, and if it's not enough, or you didn't reach that goal or whatever, then you're going to start knocking what you do and da-da-da. You do it like this, and the money will come to you.
Well, even if it doesn't, I love doing this. This is like when I go to work at night, it's like, you know, I always have my mind on who I'm going to interview, what we're going to talk about, you know, and who am I going to reach out to. And like I said, I got one or two right now booked out there on the studio wall for the next week or two. So I keep my mind occupied on that and find ways to.
That's a beautiful thing.
I love it. Yeah.
Everybody can't do that. I don't see it's a natural thing for you. It's not a natural thing for a lot of people. That's a blessing. That's a gift, and you hold on to that. And you keep it. And be true to yourself with that. And I think the same thing. Everything that I do is not about money. Else I'll lose my soul.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and people won't like being around me so much because my motivations, and people feel that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they're, you know, being screwed around or just being fluffed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most entertainers like not to be around that. They get it every day. So when they got somebody, and you can sit up here and tell Billy Preston, "Nah, I wouldn't do it that way."
Yeah.
He likes you now because you're not sitting up here being his yes man.
Mm-hmm.
He might not do it. But he likes you now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he likes you now because you told him no when everybody else is over here telling him yes, and he know the answer is really no.
Mm-hmm.
But you're the only one that had the kahunas to say it.
Yep.
I've been around that, and I think that's what gravity. I'm very honest, open, and brutally honest. Sometimes I don't like to see talent go to waste.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I try to bring it out with people, and prayerfully that will sustain my business for the long haul and until I leave this place. That's all I want to be known for.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We're closing in on 2 hours here, so we've had quite a chat. But I was going to say, before I let you go, would you mind doing a plug for my show?
I would love to do a plug for your show, Greg. Hi, this is Gregg Hanley with Hanley Entertainment, and you've been listening to Mr. Greg Python on the Python Paradise Show in New Brunswick, Canada, CHSR 97.9 FM on your dial.
Thank you so much, Gregg. And
That was it?
yeah, that was it. You got it right on the first ring. Yeah.
Hey, one take, Gregg. Remember me.